team, welcome back to the product channel. In today's video, we're gonna uncover the 5 core responsibilities of being a product manager. So whether you're considering a career in product management or you're just curious about the role, this video has you covered. We're gonna discuss everything from essential tasks to real-world life examples of effective product management. So if you find this information helpful, click the like button and subscribe. Now let's get started. So let's talk about core responsibility number 1. Defining the product vision and strategy. So as a product manager, you're the visionary behind the product, and you need to make sure that you create a clear vision that aligns with the user's needs and company's goals. For example, let's say you're a product manager for a big tech company like Apple, and you're working on the next iPhone. You're not just thinking about the next upgrade, you're thinking about how you're gonna pave the way for future technologies, user experiences, and market leadership. So when you're creating your vision, it's not about short-term gains and initiatives. It's more about the long game. So it's not the next 3 to 6 months. It's more of like the next 3 to 6 years and then some. Because remember, you're creating a vision that covers the entire product lifecycle and its market evolution. Your vision will need to be clear enough so that it keeps the teams motivated and focused and aligns with the current company objectives and addresses future opportunities and challenges. Then you have core responsibility number 2, which is managing and creating your roadmap. This is where you outline the steps to achieve your vision. And your roadmap should show the different features that need to be developed and the timelines for each. And make sure that it's very clear and concise. For example, let's say you're using a roadmap tool like 𝐏𝐫𝐨𝐝. Anyone that goes to that roadmap, whether they're in the organization or outside the organization, maybe they're not as technical, should be able to somewhat understand what's on that roadmap without you telling them. So this is really important because as you write your roadmap for the different features that are going to be worked on and developed, it should show you the what and the why and possibly the how. I know sometimes it's really hard to get the how in place, but if you're working on future development initiatives, maybe you'll be able to put, how to do it. But for the most part, your roadmap should show the what and why so that everyone understands what you're working on, why you're doing it, and what it is exactly. So this gets to my next point. A lot of people have asked me, hey, so who's gonna be seeing this roadmap? Who should I include in this? And roadmap creation can be a little bit tricky of who to include and who not to include. I'm a big proponent of including as many people as possible so that people aren't left out and they're not working in silos, which can ultimately lead to miscommunications and missed deadlines. But I would always default to asking my leader and say, hey, who needs to be included on this? But the standard is design, engineers, marketing, sales, and compliance. I would also recommend having monthly roadmap meetings. So some companies do this quarterly, but I feel like that's just too much time that has passed. If you can do monthly roadmap meetings and you can discuss current project initiatives, any future product developments in the future, like pipeline initiatives, and any issues or challenges that you're currently experiencing, I think that this would be absolutely amazing so you can get everyone on the same page and you can ask for feedback on how you can deliver on certain features that may have been roadblocked and you don't know how to facilitate it being unblocked. Whatever the case is, it's really important to have these meetings so that everyone is on the same page. I also think that as a tip, you should send a recap after this meeting to everyone on the call because not everyone's always going to be able to make certain calls. So this keeps everyone in alignment on what's currently in the roadmap and any changes that need to be made. Then you have core responsibility number 3, and that is leading cross-functional teams. So as a product manager, you're going to work with all sorts of teams: marketing, sales, compliance, engineering, design. And a good example of this would be a product manager at Tesla. You're going to be working with engineers, designs, sales, even supply chain experts to make sure that you hit all your goals, which is probably to make sure that the car is environmentally friendly, aesthetically pleasing, and that you hit your target date. So also, I get this kind of a lot. People ask me how they lead cross-functional teams and what to do and what not to do. I will tell you, in my experience, I've seen a lot of product managers take a dictatorial approach, and they don't really create a safe space for their teams to step into to really drive innovation. And I believe that effective product management is really about that soft influence, influencing without authority and collaborating so that real innovation can take place, and you create this safe to fail culture that everyone wants to throw their ideas into the pot and they're not shunned by it, and they don't feel like their opinions don't matter, and that, the dictatorial approach doesn't really get you anywhere as a product manager. And when you create that safe space for your teams to step into, it's gonna really increase team morale. And this is where a great innovation happens and where people really thrive, and you create products that customers just love. Now let's talk about co-responsibility number 4, making data-driven decisions. As a product manager, you're gonna need to analyze 3 things. 1, user feedback, 2, market trends, and 3, performance data. So let's start with user feedback. In my previous video, I talked about how you need to understand your customers, their wants and their needs, so that you can make sure that what you're building for them is the right solution. And the way you do this is by reaching out to your customers, sending out customer satisfaction surveys, focus groups, having sales conversations. All of these feedback mechanisms are really gonna give you an idea of how you can deliver for your customer, and if what you're building for them is really what they need and what they want. Then you have your market trends. So it's really important as a product manager, economically, to understand where the market currently is and where it's headed and why. For example, let's say your product is manufactured on the other side of the world in China, and they're dealing with a recession. Well, this is really important because you're gonna need to analyze your supply chain to make sure that it's not a single point of failure. And also, you're gonna need to revisit your pricing strategy because economic behavior is gonna be adjusted, and price is gonna become an issue when people are experiencing a recession. But the good news about this is that when you readjust your pricing strategy, you not only can possibly retain your current customers, but you can attract new ones. So this is all positive. Then you have your performance data. This is like your compass for your product. This shows you whether the product that you have is hitting the market with its users. And when it's not, this is your cue to shake things up a bit. For example, let's say you're a product manager at Netflix, and you notice that viewer engagement is on the decline. Like maybe people aren't binge watching their TV shows as much as they used to. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna look into your metrics, and you're gonna look at things like viewer engagement scores, retention rates, and any feedback trends. Maybe you're gonna look at shows and say, hey, which shows have been most watched? Which ones aren't? Where are they falling off? And see what feedback that customers are leaving. All of this performance data shows you as a product manager how to make the correct decision, and not just make decisions to make them, but you're gonna be making calculated decisions that at the end really drive the product forward, and you have the possibility, well, not possibility, you will end up innovating the product for the customers. This is where performance data really guides product managers so that they are making product decisions that are calculated and that count, so that at the end, you're creating products that customers really love. Then you have co-responsibility number 5. This is communicating internally and externally. So as a product manager, communication is your superpower. You need to consider yourself as the ultimate communication hub. Internally in the company, you're communicating from anywhere from marketing to sales to design, and you're making sure everyone is on the same page, that they know exactly what's going on with the product, any current challenges, future challenges, current impediments, and everything that they need to know about the product. You're the go-to. But your communication doesn't stop there. You also communicate externally with potential clients, current customers, and possibly even stakeholders. So you're telling them about how awesome the product is, what you have going on, the pipeline, and everything that's absolutely amazing about the product. But something that's very important, you really need to listen to their feedback. So I would suggest that 80 to 90% of the time, you should be listening to their feedback, because their feedback is gonna help you guide your decisions when developing features for the product, and it's gonna really hit the mark on what your users need. For example, let's say you're a product manager for Microsoft and they're rolling out a new Office upgrade. So you present it to the team, the new features, and you're listening. You're listening for their feedback, but more importantly, you're listening to their actions. Are they happy? Are they confused? Do they want something more? And all of this is so important because you can gather this feedback before you launch. So it's golden. So you go into the market and you're like, well, I already got the feedback from current users, potential users, and stakeholders so that you can dial it back before it hits the market. Kind of like a pre-A/B testing. Your ability to communicate clearly, concisely, effectively, and listen will ultimately make or break the product's success. Because communication is all about building relationships and addressing users' needs, their wants, and making sure that they're ultimately heard and addressed. All right, so there you have it. The 5 core responsibilities of being a product manager, which are defining the product vision and strategy, creating and managing the product roadmap, cross-functional team leadership, making data-driven decisions, and internally and externally communicating. So remember, being a product manager is not just about building a product, but it's about being at the heart of its success. So if you find this information useful, please click the like button and subscribe. And if you have any questions, just link them in the comments below. I absolutely love hearing from you, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.